Hello, Exia here. We're doing a deck profile of my discard dragon deck. This is the Post-Shenlong list. I was gonna do this deck list much earlier, but I decided to hold off on it because I was going to go to Houston LCQ. But unfortunately, some things happened, and unfortunately, I was not able to make it to the LCQ. So this is my list that I would have taken had I been able to play at Houston. So it plays pretty well. I do like the build from testing, and I if had I gone to Houston, I do think I would have done pretty well with the deck. Now I can't really say for sure that I actually would have topped, but I feel like I would have done these pretty good. Um, so yeah, with that being said, let's get into the deck profile. So first we have three bell ringers. I kind of don't really need to go over this as much. If you so yeah, deal with early game aggression. Not much else to it. Then three blazing breath. Same thing. Want to clear followers on board. Two before overflow, and then four once you hit overflow. We are rocking three Dragon Song flutes. I believe on my last deck profile I was on two. Decided to bump it up to three just because I do want to see this on turn four more often now. Because turn four, play this, pay three to get the Hellflame Dragon and draw a card. So you want to be able to filter through your deck more often now with this build, because Shenlong has been restricted to one. So with Shenlong being restricted, we don't have as much ways to filter through the deck. So that's why I decided to bump Dragon Song Flute to three so we can do more of that. And also, once we do get to overflow, this becomes our kill switch to start burning our opponent for two for every rights we have on board. Next, play two Dragon Oracles, self-explanatory. We want to see this card every game, ideally. Then we have three Trail of Light, because we are discarding a lot and we're filtering through the deck. We do want to be able to replenish our hand as well, so this helps with that. Next, we have three Dragon Warrior. It's pretty good 2-for-1 on Evo on turn three going second, turn four going first. Next, we have three Serpent Wrath. So with Shenlong being restricted to one, we can't just rely on consistently drawing it, and heal for five whenever we evo it. Um, so we are gonna have to play a bit more aggressive now, and with Serpent Wrath, we definitely can do that because we just don't have that healing anymore, and we still have to be able to clear our opponent's board. Whenever they put out any problematic followers on board, and on overflow you do draw one with this card. So again, as I mentioned earlier, as I'll keep mentioning throughout the deck profile, we want to filter through our deck more often now, and this helps with that. And also because Uma is running around, we definitely want to be out there. Their big followers like Daiwa, Vodka, Rice Shower, maybe if they do bring it out. So basically, any big followers that Uma might play, and other decks really. That's what it's for. And of course, we do have three Dracomancer's rights. Pretty self-explanatory. This is the engine of the deck. Well, sorry, rather the heart of the deck, because our engine is the Dragon Song Flute to start proccing it on command once we're in overflow. Next, we have 3 Forte, pretty self-explanatory. Play her, Evo, swing for 7 to face, and just puts a lot of pressure on the opponent. Next, we have 2 Olivia. So decided to only play 2 Olivia because I feel like this is kind of a negative tempo play, especially with Uma because of how fast the deck is. And while it's a good card, don't get it twisted. It just kind of feels like you're not doing a whole lot when you play this for 5. I mean, again, don't get it twisted. Yes, her effects are good. You're just not getting that much value out of 5 play points, especially when Uma can just easily out her with stuff like make some noise, you know, and some other cards they have. Mainly the deck and ratios that I play is tuned specifically to go against Uma because Uma is kind of it's kind of a flip coin match with slight, in my opinion, but sometimes I feel like Uma does have slight advantage, and I do want to be able to deal with that matchup. So I feel like Olivia is fine at 2. 3 is a bit overkill. Though, adjust your ratios to preference. Next, we have 1 Shenlong. This boy did absolutely nothing wrong. I wish he was still at 3. There's my copium take right there. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Because, Shenlong is really good. And I do see why he's been hit to 1. But, of course, I really wish he was still at 3. Next, we have 3 Conflags. Again, my ratios are tuned specifically to deal with the Uma matchup. And 5 Conflag just feels absolutely necessary. It also works in the sword matchup, kind of. And in other matchups, like Forest this is also really good into Forest because we do have slight disadvantage. I feel like Dragon is a slight disadvantage against Forest just because Forest can out-tempo Dragon in the early turns because turns 1 through 3 we don't really do much outside of maybe a Bell Ringer, Oracle if we draw it, Dragon Warrior Evo on 3 if we go second. Point is we want to be able to mitigate early game aggression against a lot of decks like Uma and Forest and Sword. I know it's on 5 is a bit far from that, but I do still feel like this has to be at 3 in this current meta. So that's why I'm playing at 3. If again, adjust ratios as necessary, but I think 3 Conflag is good. Next, we have 3 Oguri. Again, this is another card that 2 is perfectly fine. I just choose to run 3 because, besides the Uma matchup, the deck can get very high rolly if you curve just right, especially going second. Because going second, you can go either turn 2 Oracle, turn 3 either Dragon Warrior or Rights, and then maybe Dragon Song Flute in between if you can. Otherwise, Forte, and then on 6 or 7 going second, you can drop her, discard 2, feed 1 on turn 6, feed 2 going feed 2 on 7 going second. So this is like going second strats, by the way. You drop her, feed her 1 or 2 depending on if you drop her on 6 or 7. swing 8 to face, and if you have rights on board, that's 10 damage. And depending on if you've been able to deal more damage early on before you drop Oguri, you could theoretically close out a game before you even hit overflow. I've done it in one match. I've done one match where I did not exactly that, but pretty similar sequence where I basically swung with Oguri for a game not by turn 6, but by 6 play points. So that's why I play her at 3, because I want to see her as often as I can, so that way I can just swing for a game when the opportunity presents itself. Next, we play 2 Rico. The card is still pretty good. It does come up quite often where your opponent sits on a ward, and you drop this and you just out that ward and hit them for 3 damage. So 2 is fine. It comes up, but doesn't come up often enough to justify playing her at 3. And she also can get kind of bricky if you do play her at 3. Last, play Lucifer. So this is one of the big changes I made to the deck, because what I've been noticing with my hand size, when I was playing Dragoon on the list, I have to maintain my hand size up for as much as I can, just so I can get the most amount of value with Dragoon's effect in synergy with rights. Now that's still a viable option in the deck. I just chose not to go with that because I can drop Lucifer faster, because he's only a 7 cost, Dragoon is an 8. And also to Evo Lucifer is free, so I can option to either keep him at base form, or more often than not, Evo Lucifer. And if I already have rights and flute on the field, I can also proc that to deal 4 from Lucifer's Evo plus rights. So that's minimum 6 damage on turn 7 if I have that set up already. And if I have an additional rights, even better. That's like 8 damage in 1 turn for essentially 7 play points, and your opponent cannot interact with it. So, and if they do, and it also puts the opponent into a situation where once Lucifer Evo is out, they have to answer it, or they're gonna take 8 damage to the face unless they have a ward, plus an additional 4 from his effect, plus additional burn damage from rights. So you're basically checking your opponent's turn once you drop him and Evo. So I think it's pretty good. It has come up for me, though not as often as I would like, but I still think Lucifer is a solid choice in this deck, and I do intend to keep him for some time unless I'm convinced otherwise. And we're going to the Evo deck. I'm just gonna speed through this because not a whole lot changed. Bellringer, 2 Dragon Warrior, 2 Forte, 1 Shenlong, and the Evo Lucifer, as I was mentioning earlier. This is really the only real change to the Evo deck, since we opt to play Lucifer instead of Imperial Dragoon and the 3 carrots. So, I mean, I do like the deck, and it has been performing really well for me. There have been some bricky hands, but that's kind of just how Dragon goes sometimes. But if you see your broken cards, you can high roll with this deck so hard, like to the point where you don't even hit overflow. If you're going second, caveat to that is if you're going second, because going first, you're probably not going to be doing those same plays. You just can't, because you don't have the play point or the evo points to really do it that fast. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the deck profile. I do hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.